Some people believe that if you're a high enough value man, that you're good, but it doesn't matter who you are. You can be replaced. It doesn't matter if you're a 10 or whatever. And I'm going to give you some context to what I'm talking about, and you can weigh in with your opinions throughout the episode. Everybody is replaceable, in my opinion. Let's get into it. In this episode, we're going to talk about why women need security in relationships. The main topic is going to be how long would it take for a man to rebuild if, say, he fell off or lost his job, and would a woman stay? These are the questions we're going to answer. And then I'm going to talk about why I think hypergamy always wins. No one is irreplaceable. If you don't do what you're supposed to do as a man, and sometimes these are fleeting things, right? Because you can be the best version of yourself, and sometimes you can still get a partner that may not see your value or may just, I don't know, their set of expectations and standards. Maybe you fall off from that. But if you don't do what you're supposed to do as a man, I believe that a woman will always be looking for the next best option. Now, back in the day, even if you fell on hard times, I think women were more willing to stay and fight that battle with you. But today, the way that the dating marketplace is set up, I'm not sure if those type of women exist anymore. And if for the 16% of you who do watch this channel that are women, chime in the comments and let me know, where do you guys hang out, so that my audience can know where to find you and you can potentially meet a partner. Because we know that it's a farce that good men don't exist. It's just that the men that you want are not, you got a bunch of people in your DMs, but probably not the ones that you have your eye on. And that is where the disconnect comes in, maybe with unrealistic expectations. Now, I'm going to play a clip. This clip is a while back from a guy from the roommates. His name is Hafiz. I listen to MTR sometimes. Shout out to him. But this is between him and a guy. I don't know his real name, but his name is AMS. He's got a YouTube channel, Alpha Male Strategies. They are having a conversation, and it's about if a man fell off, how would a woman leave? These kind of things. Let's get into it.
Right. When you see the red pill try to paint women one way, that just comes from the hypergamy nature, and that's in all women. That is in all women. At some point in her, it's hypergamy. You can have a girl that genuinely love you, right? Genuinely love you, but if you fall on hard times, if you stay on hard times long enough, I'm talking about nothing about you changes, you're gonna lose that woman. Now, I'm not saying she's gonna be gone tomorrow, but let's just say you go through a rough patch for a year, and it can happen. I done been through it. God knows I have. Yeah. You probably gonna lose that woman. Now, let's say you meet a woman while you broke, and she likes you. You know what? You better be working on something. She'll go with that. I met women while I broke, but you better damn well be working on something, improving yourself. If you think a woman finna sit there with you forever making $15 an hour,
nope.
She'll build with you if you're working on something. But I'm telling you that love is gonna run thin. From what I've seen with women, at some point, hypergamy kicks in. Now, do you have different personalities and all that type of stuff? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But from my life experiences, at some point, hypergamy always comes in. And a lot of guys don't want to face that fact.
Just like
but
Hafiz, don't want to face it. That's
from my life experience, from what I've seen. For the fact that most divorces end due to money should prove that fact alone.
So I like where you're going, Ed.
Pause. I'm going to respond to what he said on this because I have some thoughts on what he said. And here's the thing. It's in a woman's biological nature to attain a man that can provide security, that can provide protection and provision. We know these are the things that women say they want all the time. And then as a man, I truly believe that these all are also things that we're supposed to provide: security, protection, provision. To the degree that you can do that as a man is the ability for you to get a certain type of woman. Now, let's say, because life happens, if you fall from grace, that clock starts ticking because love don't pay no bills. And we can argue this point, okay? Because there will be women that may hold you down and they might say, oh, I wouldn't leave my man. But the thing is, until you're in that situation, you have no idea what the response is going to be. And like AMS said, most problems in relationships start with money problems. And you can think that, hey, this girl is mine, this girl is kind, this girl is nice, this girl is loyal, and she may be. Maybe she won't cheat. But especially if she has kids, if it takes too long, she may not cheat, but she will probably break up with you for whatever, some mysterious reason, and go look for someone who can pay those bills. Y'all have heard the phrase before, love don't pay no bills, and that's most women. Not all women, but most women. Now, there, of course, are some women who make their own money, and this is starting to show itself a lot more now, and they don't need you to provide. These days, this is what we hear all the time. I don't need a man to provide and all this stuff. And if you're lucky enough to find a woman who has had good male role models and influence and has a good relationship with her father or her brothers, you will probably be okay. But those women are slowly disappearing since most mothers these days are engaging in hot girl summers and thottery. Now, I want to hear Hafiz's response to this, but those are kind of my thoughts on what AMS said. Let's get back into it.
Back on the show.
Right.
So me, when it comes to women, dudes want to live in this fairy tale land where it's like, no matter what, I want a woman, no matter what I do, she's with me. I'm like, bro, that's stupid. Because there's nowhere in life besides maybe your mom.
Right.
Because even dad is like, you ain't my son if you do that. And one last thing before I let you do it, but it's the same as men.
Right.
If you're with a girl and she was fit, that she gained 100 pounds, you still with her?
Right.
Hell no, you throw it at the AMS and throw it to the side of the road.
Right, exactly.
And so to me, I agree with that, but a man like you and I, we're on our purpose 24/7. We're always growing. That's who we are. And so that's why I think that conversation might be, it's true, but for certain kind of guys, it doesn't apply to, because no matter if I lost all my money, I'm always going to be grinding, hungry, building it back up, because this is the mentality and mindset that I currently have.
Pause. First of all, he said men don't live in reality, and we know that's not true, because if men don't live in reality, the world will let us know. Society will let us know. The dating marketplace will let us know, hey, bruh, you a bum. You're not doing what you think you're doing. And then you will have to improve as a man. All right. My thing is, this whole time, I felt like he was somewhat bashing men because he said, it doesn't apply to people like him and AMS. And that's simply not true. And AMS recognized this. Anyone can fall on hard times, or they can have something catastrophic happen at any time. We call that Murphy. I listen to Dave Ramsey sometimes, and that's what he calls Murphy, right? Something always waiting to pop off. That's called life. And to think himself impervious to life is simply just not a really thought out answer, or maybe he hasn't experienced that yet. Now, this cat just got married, and he's blaming the whole thing on men, like if men don't do this and men don't do that. Men are always like expected to do certain things, or they can't even get in the game with women. Now, I agree that men should be better and be working to improve, but we cannot dismiss hypergamy or the behavior and the nature of women. Now, again, on this channel, I truly believe that men and women are better together. But if I'm going to help you become a better man, I also have to warn you about the true nature of women. And sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it's not what we want to hear. It's whether you're on your grind, after you lose a job, if you lose whatever you have or not, if you have to go down in lifestyle, right? Realistically, it takes time to build those things back up. And here's a real life example. During my divorce, I lost half of everything I had built, but I wasn't necessarily in a super bad place, but like pretty much everything in my accounts at that moment, right after the last trial or / mediation, I did not have any savings, because the judge said by 5 p.m. today, once this trial is over, you need to have to send this all this money out of your account to her by 5 p.m. Best believe, and it was a court order. I couldn't do anything about it. Now imagine, let's go to a dream world. Imagine being 40 years old and then having to start over. Imagine you meet a woman, and women at that age, around, after say 30, 35, they are expecting some things from you. Heck, I'm expecting things from myself. And you say to yourself, dang, man, I thought I'd be further. Thought I'd be further along by now. I thought I'd be here. Sometimes life just doesn't allow you to do that. But then you start building, you start working, and it's really hard to find the kind of woman that'll either be there during that rebuilding stage. And I'm not talking about like when I say the rebuilding stage, I'm not talking about like a man living with his mom or anything like that, but I mean like bare bones starting over. You got to get your own apartment. You know, you might have had to give her one of the cars or the car in the divorce. You might have had to give her the house, whatever. Maybe your savings got wiped out like mine did. You may have to take some time to figure out investments again or savings again, because maybe you lost that during that divorce. Either way, I don't think it's really malicious on women's part. I really don't think they're being malicious, that women don't want to be with a man during the building stage. It's just that biologically and by everything society teaches them, they teach them you need to be with a man that can provide. And these days, the unrealistic standards and the delusions of grandeur, because they always think, oh, I want a guy that makes this, like, I don't know where they think these magical, mythical guys exist. The dudes that have yachts and millions of dollars, these dudes have worked a long time to build it up, probably decades, right? But that's what society teaches them. And so they have these unrealistic standards, and it's ridiculous. But that being said, women, they don't want to rock with struggle like that. You hear them talk about struggle love, they tired of doing it. Really, to be honest, I kind of only hear that from my sisters, and this is not me bashing them. I'm just kind of, that's what I hear. That's who I hear it from the most. We've been taught to struggle love and all that. If you think about it, though, black men are the most probably disenfranchised. Like, we start off with zero. We start off at ground zero. We don't have, land that our parents stole, or no, I'm just, that's gonna ruffle some feathers. But no, we don't have things to turn over to us. Like, our fathers don't have land and property and stuff that they can turn over. We're basically like the first generation who's trying to do that for our children, right? But women, they don't care about that. They don't understand that. It's just like, you this old, you should have this. If you're starting from scratch and you don't have anything given to you, it is exponentially many times harder to do that. Yeah, women don't want to rock. They don't want to rock with that struggle of, even if the guy is capable, even if the guy is willing to get back on his game, especially if the guy is over 35. Women have this alarm that goes off. It's like this something with their intuition that goes off if they aren't secure. If their man does not have them in a place where either he has savings or can take care of things, the woman is not going to be in a comfortable place. She goes on survival mode. And there's only so much women can take. Even if the man is trying, without the results, it's going to be hard for her to trust his judgment and to trust his lead. Like I said, I don't really think they're being malicious. We know there are some women who just try to take advantage of dudes, or they just don't give up and be out, and they know they have, financial status to gain. But I don't think, for the most part, when women are in marriages, even though they are the ones who file divorces most of the time, I really don't think they're being malicious. I think it's just their nature to make sure they're secure, and if they are not, or if they're unhappy, they want out. This is why this notion that Hafiz thinks that I'm gonna go get her, I'm always on my grind, if I lose it, I'm gonna get it back. It ain't gonna be no 2 months. Let's hear a little bit more.
The reason it stings so bad is because I think women kind of understand at an early age, boys are very sexual, whatever. Men don't understand that at a very early age about women, all women. We kind of saw the gold diggers in high school, and they only dealt with the dope boys and stuff like that. We all saw that. Yeah. But you always think it's different for other women. You just think, okay, those gold digging heifers, but these are the good girls. And then you find out too that, damn, she's hypergamous too, just on a different level. And so that's where the resentment towards female nature comes in, because guys don't know that part of it.
We see the gold diggers, we know what they look like, right? The ones that's only with dudes for their money, but it's the regular women that you always think that, oh, it's gonna be different with them. It's not like that. The second that you fall off, if they're used to leading, $150,000 lifestyle, and you go down to, let's say, half that for whatever reason, economic reasons. Look at what happened with COVID. So many people worked from home, lost their jobs, had to do all these kind of things, right? Very hard to build that back up. We already know what happened. Look how many relationships, when you had to spend that much time at home with the woman or the man, boy, things got heated, didn't they? Things got super, super heated. Let's listen to a little bit more.
No matter what you do, you could just fall, right? You could just go through a rough patch. You can figure it out, but you might not figure it out in 2 months.
Real talk.
It might take you a minute. So let's hypothetically say you lost everything today. IRS said, Joker, we found out you owe us $12 million. Give us everything. Now, I do believe you will build, but will your woman stick around long enough for you to rebuild that? Because it's not going to be no overnight. See, you did not get there from a year's worth of work. It's taking several years. So would your woman be willing to go through that whole grind again for you to rebuild? Because sometimes when we get to the top and we making money, we forget, damn, I've been grinding for 10 years.
Yeah.
And we just think like, if I just snap my fingers, that no. So that's the issue that I do believe you will rebuild. But how long? Will your woman stick around? Why you rebuild?
This is a great question. And listen, unless you have a lot of years under your belt of producing for that woman, or unless you show that woman a considerable amount of time where you have been reliable and can provide, then I want to say maybe she'll stick around for, during those times. And probably some women will. But statistically speaking, man, most divorces set in because of financial disparities. Again, if a woman gets used to a lifestyle and all of a sudden she's thrust into some type of subpar conditions, I believe there's a time frame with which you have to get back to that level, or at least show that you're building it back up. The time frame might be different, but I'll just throw a number out there and say after I would say a year of you being down, I truly think that her eye may start wondering. You know what I mean? What'd you say now? Ooh, look at that right there. Yeah. The one to replace you. It's just the game. It's part of the game. Now, I want to be optimistic about this stuff, but I mean, once that quality of life changes, there are other things that get affected. More arguments for stupid stuff. She gets more frustrated because now there's less security and certainty about her future. Y'all start getting into fights about money because now you can't do some of these little things because, he's saying, hey, we need to cut back and save this money. And the woman is like, well, wait, dang, I can't get coffee at Starbucks no more. That kind of thing. What's going on? Women want to understand, but if there aren't any results, the explanations or excuses, which is how they will see it will start to fall on deaf ears. And it seems to me like in this interview, Hafiz is not trying to face that fact. Let's listen to some more.
You're not saying that they're gonna leave tomorrow.
Right.
Like AMS,
right.
Oh, you deleted my channel. Then all the girls packing up their
right.
they leaving the house.
Right.
You're not saying that,
no,
right?
No.
But it gets to a point where if you haven't gotten back to where you are at,
right,
potentially she is going to leave.
Not potentially.
And he said, AMS said she's going to leave.
She's going to leave.
And so
bro.
what I've said is that there is a spectrum between that, right?
Okay.
Some girls, it may be 3 months.
Right.
Some girls, it may be 3 years, right?
Right.
There's a spectrum.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, nobody is going to, no human being for the most part.
Right.
Maybe there might be some women.
Right.
There's a spectrum.
Who are going to suffer with somebody forever.
Right. How long?
There's not many people besides your family who's going to do that.
It's not the money per se. It's not the money. The money is the underlying root. It's the stress the lack of money causes. Now it's tension and we're having petty arguments, but the underlying factor is the money, the financial stress that we're not doing that and we're struggling to pay bills, this and other. Perfect. That causes little petty arguments. And now, so the woman doesn't necessarily look and say, oh, the money's gone, he's not rebuilding. It's now I'm stressed about money, so now I'm picking at him, what that bag's doing there, why this is not up, why this is not clean.
I agree.
And now we're having petty arguments.
So the way I
pause. That is what I was getting to.
Perfect.
Good job, AMS.
I look at it like, what did she sign up for, and what did you sign up for?
Right.
Me, let's say a man said, I signed up for you to have sex,
right,
be kind,
right,
and to be supportive, right?
Right, right.
She said, I signed up for you to protect, provide, and lead.
Right.
So I look at it like, whenever one party
right.
drops the ball,
right.
Now it's like, I bought this car, and now the car broke down.
Right.
So that's when you're like, bro, I'm not going to drop.
Pause. I find it interesting that a man will accept a woman, most times, if he really loves her, as she is, and we always that rock to be there for them if something should happen. But why isn't it the other way around? That's where your argument falls on its face. And this whole question about, what did y'all sign up for? Well, it's true that each woman might have a different time frame. But the most important thing is what AMS said, which is it's the little petty arguments and the stress of the struggle, not per se the money. That's the problem, and that's what breaks the relationship down, and life happens. You can say, I signed up for X, Y, and Z, but when Murphy comes around, and he will come around, that's disaster waiting to happen. When Murphy comes, or mayhem comes, That's when the issues start, and that's really when your relationship and your lady tasted. Those are ultimately what start to deteriorate things in the relationship. Communication starts to break down because of the arguments, and then a wedge begins to build and get driven between the both of you until it grows into an unhealthy state. This is why in that money episode, y'all go back and watch it, I said at least like 6 months of savings just to start. Make sure that you have that and no debt before you try a super serious relationship. You want to be prepared, especially if you want to start a family, because they are going to need that security. And sometimes life is scathing and you have to be prepared. If you didn't sign up, for something like, for instance, if you signed up for a woman to be a certain size, or y'all to agree that you're going to have sex a certain amount of times and then they don't live up to those expectations. When you downgrade the lifestyle, it's just issues. Let's listen to a little bit more.
One of them is like, well, you know what? I don't want to have sex anymore. You got with her to have a sexual partner.
Right.
Now she no longer wants to do her job. This is my opinion. I don't believe you or me or any guy who's really about it will ever be without for long. So I believe that if you are a guy and you stop doing that job, best believe she's going to leave.
The thing with the women, and you keep saying, is that that's a choice. So if a woman gains weight, that's a choice. If a woman don't want to have sex with you, that's a choice. Your business or something say your health, whatever the case may be, to where it's out of your control. Like the weight loss and sex, that's why it's different with the sex and the weight loss, because that's a decision you're making to handle things. With the money aspect, cubicle job, make $125,000 a year. I get laid off. I can't just go out and just replace that job in 2 or 3 months. I probably replace it, but I might just can't go back out and replace that salary right now. I might have to go work for 75 for a while. I need that woman that, even though I can't afford those trips no more, I need you to work with me. And from what I've seen is when there's a downgrade in lifestyle from the woman, there's an issue. That's all I'm saying.
This is the prime thing. It's not necessarily the money per se, it's the downgrade in lifestyle. And this is just sometimes you can be prepared, but you don't know when that kind of thing is coming. And then realistically, you need to ask yourself when you're selecting a partner, right? Do I think that this woman would stick with me if something like that was to happen? It's good to prepare. It's good to have preparations. Like I said, save the 6 months and all that. But if something was really to happen, would she hold you down? We have all these independent women talking about that. But I'm going to tell you, once you take these women off the street and you put them inside and you taking care of them and you paying all the bills and stuff like that, they get used to it. They get comfortable. And maybe they forgot when they were outside and you brought them inside. And so they might want to stick around, but I'm telling you, it's in their nature to panic, for one, because like, oh, he lost his job, he lost his status. I mean, I want to be there, but realistically, how long am I going to deal with this whole struggle thing? It's a tough position to be in as a man.
Okay.
Some women want $50,000 worth of provision.
Okay.
Some women want $200,000. Some women want $1 million. If you promise her this middle class life, but then now all of a sudden you want to be a $30,000 a year janitor,
right?
That don't make no sense. Ain't no
one
dude
thing
doing
and
that.
giving something else. And so in that situation, who loses his job and he's a really ambitious, driven, purposeful man, I don't see that man be unemployed for 6 months.
Pause. See, and this is where there are also holes in the argument. Okay. In the words of MTR, Hafiz. I'm an engineer by trade, electrical engineer. I got 22 years in the Navy, and I have an associate's degree in engineering technology and about a decade and a half of experience in automation and some other things. Now, in my more than 2 decades working, I got laid off once and I got let go once. In one case, I had money saved up, but it got depleted. It started to get depleted very fast, and it took me around 4 months to get the next position. I was making around at that time about $130,000 a year, and the offers were rolling in because I always kind of like keep my resume out there. But the problem was the immediate offers that were rolling in were less than half of what I was making. Now, if I'm going from making $130K, do you think I'm just going to sit there and I had some money saved up that I'm just going to sit there and take a job paying me 70 or 80? No. I'm going to wait that out. I'm going to drop the bait out there, see who's going to respond to the resume. This takes time. So that major quality of life reduction, I wasn't willing to just take that. And even though at the time my wife did hold me down, we did get into some little spats about like, hey, you know, we can't do this right now because, you know, we can't go out, you know, and I am a go-getter. I've never been a type of person to sit on the sidelines. I've never been without a plan. I've never been without ambition, but every day she didn't realize that she was doing this, and I don't think she was doing it maliciously, but she started every day. She thought she was helping, but she was getting on my nerves. Have you applied for any jobs yet? How many jobs did you apply for yet? And I'm sitting there looking at her with the Kermit look. Bruh, get off my back, man. I applied for 3, you know, like my goal was like 3 per day. You know what I mean? I'm following back up. I'm not waiting on people to email me. If I send an email, I'm calling, I'm following. I'm doing all these things without having to be told, because it's the type of man I am. That's why there's holes in this argument, Hafiz. You know, I was like, yeah, stop asking me. I'm applying. I'm just not sitting here on this computer playing games. I'm not doodling over here. And it started to create this stress and these little stupid arguments. And again, I had money saved, and you know, at the end of that, I had to build back up because I ended up almost depleting my savings. You know, when you got a family, it can easily be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. You paying all the bills, you know, the rent, gas, light, water, you know, food. Food was like the biggest expense. You know, if you got a family, I got 2 kids, 3 now. You know, you're looking at $1,000 or more in groceries, and that's even if you don't go out to eat. If you go out to eat, my man, you can be broke fast, because families, they just take a lot of resources. Now, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying you have to be prepared. And this that Hafiz is talking about, I don't think he's being realistic. He did just get married, so maybe he'll have a chance to experience this. But bruh, women go on survival mode, so they start panicking. Even if they're not gonna leave, it's gonna get rough. And I don't think Hafiz is really thinking it through. I agree with some of his points, but for his sake, I hope this never happens, because like, since this guy got married, he's totally changed his whole persona and the things that he's saying to the male community. You know, that like a lot of that stuff's changed, and I don't think he truly understands female nature. I'm against the notion that that there are no more good women, and there are some good ones. They're just hard to find, just like they say that men are hard to find. It's less of a pool of men that they have to choose from, and we have a larger pool to choose from as men. That's what I'm saying. They have less options, but they're incredibly hard to find. And women want a ready-built man, especially after 30. Let's take a pause here, and I want to ask this. Okay, I want to ask. Ask. Women, they get into committed relationships based on conditions, like you having a certain status, you making a certain amount, or you having these certain traits. Nothing wrong with that. Your preferences are your preferences. I would encourage my daughter to have standards, but realistic standards, so she can appreciate certain things that's going to give her the best chance at securing a guy so that can take care of her. But here's the question. When you lose some of those traits, do you think the phrase for better or worse applies in real life? Do you think women will stick around after you go down? And how long after? What do you think the time frame would be before a woman will leave? While y'all type y'all answers in the comments, but I want to mention our sponsor today, which is Growth Gang merch. The link will be in the description. Y'all seen me wear the shirt before. Everybody who leaves comments and likes, by the way, do that right now. Like it. Helps me in the algorithm. Subscribe. I appreciate your support. I just want to shout that out.
A lot of men, when they get down, they stay down.
Right.
And they
That's
change
not
up.
true.
Right.
And when they stay down and they change
When they
up,
get down, they stay
don't
down. Come
realize
on,
that
man.
you're now a different person,
Right.
and that's maybe why she left.
I've never seen somebody foot shuffle around the fact that if you aren't getting it, if you aren't out there trying to get the bag, and you get with a woman who is used to a certain lifestyle, whether you a hustler, whether you got ambition or not, when that woman is used to a certain lifestyle and you fall off, that clock is ticking. You best get to work, because if you don't, she is going to get her sexual marketplace value from someone else.
And he go get a job making a 70. He's not a bum sitting on the couch playing video games, feeling sorry for himself. He wouldn't have got another job. But maybe he had an extraordinary job with an extraordinary salary that he worked his way up for 10 years, and now you at another company.
If a guy like that was making 120, he loses a job and he's making 70, how many percentage of women would you say are leaving him? Would you say it's all 100% of women would leave him with dropping from 120 to 70?
Okay, this is how it works.
Go ahead.
You have the sexual market value place, right? Mm-hmm. That woman who's at 120, she got that 120 because that's what her sexual market value determines, right? Her sexual market value is higher than 70. If that's what she was after, she would have already had that. She got the 120 because that's what her sexual market value determines she got. So if she go get with a guy that's now making 70, if you talking about for a short period of time, fine. She's not. The arguments are not going to build up to leave in 2 or 3 months. But 6 months, 7 months, you making that, and now it's a lifestyle grade when she knows, hey, my sexual market value determines that I get 120. I've always gotten 120, and I'm not taking a back seat because I got guys who are hitting on me now, and they make 120 and more. So why would I take that back seat for the 70? And so what the issue is, that woman's sexual market value determine what she feels like she's entitled to. And that's a big downgrade in lifestyle because that $50,000, that's a lot of experiences in traveling that go up in that 50. So our lifestyle is finna take a big hit.
And in my opinion, I think it goes back to the man and the discernment.
Mm-hmm.
If a woman's got with you, you making whatever you make, the level that you're at, maybe she's been dealing with other men that's on that same level. So talking about her sexual marketplace value, if she's used to dating guys that make 6 figures and you go down in lifestyle to say not even less than half, but something happened because life happens, right? To a certain degree, she won't understand that struggle. All she'll understand is I'm worth this. This is what I normally get, and I'm not getting that. Maybe it's time to pack up and start getting that because I know this is what I'm worth. Now, it's a toss-up in today's world. Back in the day, I think it used to be more women that would stick around. And some people who have built that, like say, that have, a good 12 or 15 years in currently, those people probably will work it out. And listen, I understand that this guy wants to be optimistic, but let's be real. $130K to half that, missing out on those experiences, those trips, that lifestyle. Women, and this is probably going to be a little controversial, women get with guys before they love them, before they know them for what they can provide. If you're a bum, you won't even get to the second level. You won't even get to the level of anything else, right? So what you can provide in other things, maybe what you drive, I don't know. It's got to be some kind of base level thing, but they don't love you right when they meet you. They got to get to that point. So what do they use as a tool to measure you? They use your status. They use your whatever you have, the way you dress, the way you look, what you drive. These are the metrics that they use to grade you. We get with women because we like what we see. You got a fat ass. You got some nice, whatever. You got a nice rack. You dress nice. We don't, just what we like what we see. Women get with us because initially they like what they hear and the potential and the lifestyle. Then they start to notice the other things. Now, if you're a bum or if you make minimum wage, first of all, I'm no shade to the men who make minimum wage. Shout out to all my hardworking brothers. I see you. I see you. Women aren't that understanding about that. They're going to be on to the next one who can provide that lifestyle she feels she deserves. Y'all hear this all the time. Women live in their feelings. I deserve this. I deserve. Y'all hear this all the time. So it's not really about whether you can do the job or not, or can be a go-getter or ambitious or not. It's whether you can provide that lifestyle or not. That's it. Now, if you start off regular, like for instance, if the first couple dates are, which I advise this actually, coffee dates, park dates, stuff like that, then you can build up to taking her to nice restaurants and stuff, and you got room for growth there. But if you start off at Ruth Chris and you start off at Maestro's and you start off at $200, you can't go back down. You understand? She's going to look at you with the side eye, and she's either going to do one or two things: start complaining, looking for an exit, or find another you that's a better you that can give her that lifestyle, whatever her sexual marketplace value she feels she deserves. And this is where the problem lies. Working class men used to be appreciated, and they aren't anymore. My guy, I see you. My dude that take out the trash, I see you, my brother. My dude that work in the sewer, I see you. My guy that makes minimum wage, I see you, bruh. The manager at Walmart that's trying to work his way up to regional manager, I see you, bruh. Half the women won't see you. So just keep improving, keep building, and be very meticulous about finding a good woman that can assist you in building your empire. I really don't believe that it doesn't matter how much you're worth. Last story. Even the loyalist of women have their breaking points, and I really want to hear the chat weigh in on this one. But this is a prime example of a woman who, she cheated on her husband. Husband's worth $4 billion. Y'all may have heard this story. You can go look it up on Google. The Sheikh of Dubai, the Princess of Dubai, cheated with his bodyguard. It was. You can look this up. For 2 years, she had an affair with this dude, and she spent $6 million to cover it up. 2 years with a guy that makes $4 billion. Now, let's just put this into context. If the wife of a man who makes 10 figures is hypergamous and will cheat, well, that's not really hypergamy. But the guy obviously wasn't doing something. You got to have it all, you know? So if that woman will cheat, but look here, my guy, you better stay on top of your game at all times. This guy worth $4 billion with a B, $4 billion, and can give her whatever she wants, and she spent $6 million to cover that up and was out there for 2 years doing that. You have to have it all these days. Women want it all. This is why I tell you to improve your mindset, improve your money, go to the gym and improve your health. Be as good as you can and hope for the best. No, but then you have options is what I'm saying. If you don't have something, you need to improve in the areas that you don't have. I truly try to be optimistic. I really do. But the rapid decline of relationships in the dating marketplace today, I'm not too excited about my son's future prospects. Will women stay if you somehow become broke for an extended period of time? I don't think so. I think you got a certain amount of time before a woman is just over you in every way, because things die slowly. What happens? You get into little arguments. The arguments create a little bit of resentment and a little bit of discontentment. And then sex dies slowly or it diminishes completely. And then more arguments. Then frustration, worry set in. When he gonna get back on his game? Then she starts looking for an exit. If I'm wrong, y'all in the chat, please. Refute these arguments. Then respect dies. Because you'll start hearing, oh, you're not a real man. You can't even take care of this. You can't even do that. You can't even do X. Take your pick and put whatever you want there. And then it's just a matter of time. Now, I don't think this is all women, but I think it's a large majority of women, especially these days. With this on to the next one culture, come on, man. Y'all leave me a comment and tell me what y'all think. Am I reaching too far? I feel like a woman will drop you because you don't match her ambition. You don't match her drive. This is the type of stuff you'll hear. Real life stuff happens, but you think a woman is gonna hold you down forever. Come on, man. Let's not kid ourselves. All it takes is one perfectly placed alpha and you are done. It just takes one time of going out and the dude say the right thing, do the right thing, looking good, smelling good, on top of his game, and at the right time. In the right place at the right time. And you done, bro. You done. But if you big yourself up, you don't have to worry about all that. You can get another one. Now, it might hurt, might cause some pain, but let me hear y'all comments, man. I'm always excited to read the comments. And if you've made it this far, you're amazing. Shout out to you. Appreciate all y'all. You still here. You freaking rock. But, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. All my G's, man. Y'all keep getting this knowledge. Check out my shorts. Check out my long form content, shorter videos. Check out the merch. All the links will be in the description. And fellas, remember, y'all know what I'm going to say. Never give your resources to a woman who does not deserve it. Make her earn it. You have the right to say no to being finessed. You don't got to deal with it. Just make sure that you on top of your game. Make sure you do in the best physical health, the best version of yourself that you can be. And I've covered that in other episodes, so go check those out too. I'll see y'all on the next show, man. I wish y'all all the best out here in relationships. I do hope y'all find somebody that y'all can build with. Just be aware. Just be aware of these things so you can make better decisions. Be aware of female nature. Because it trumps whatever you think you know. You know what I mean? All right. Peace, y'all. I'm out.